Here's a detailed overview of Admiral James W. Kilby's life, naval career, and key milestones. Here's what's known about Admiral James W. Kilby's early life and education. Early life: born and raised. Born in 1963. Admiral Kilby grew up in Pound Ridge, New York, a small town that helped shape his early values. Education: United States Naval Academy. In 1982, Kilby entered the U.S. Naval Academy and graduated in 1986 with a Bachelor of Science. The official start of his naval career. Education background: institution, United States Naval Academy, USNA. Entry year, 1982. Graduation year, 1986. Degree earned: Bachelor of Science. Exact major, not publicly specified. Location: Annapolis, Maryland. The USNA is one of the most prestigious service academies in the United States, known for producing high-ranking naval officers. Kilby's education there not only provided rigorous academic and military training, but also launched his 35-year career in the U.S. Navy. Here's a detailed overview of Admiral James W. Kilby's sea duty and command assignments throughout his naval career. Sea duty and command assignments. Early sea assignments. Admiral Kilby served on several surface combatants early in his career: USS Sampson, DDG-10, a guided missile destroyer; USS Philippine Sea, CG-58, a Taekwondo guided missile cruiser; 2 tours aboard USS San Jacinto, CG-56, another Ticonderoga-class cruiser. These roles helped him build technical and leadership expertise in air defense, missile systems, and surface warfare. Department head and executive roles. Progressed through roles like combat systems officer and executive officer, where he was responsible for shipboard operations, weapons systems, and tactical planning. Commanding officer: USS Russell, DDG-59. Kilby commanded the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, USS Russell, where he led the ship through complex operations. Award: received the prestigious Vice Admiral James B. Stockdale Award for Inspirational Leadership in 2005. During this tour, highly competitive recognition given to only a few Navy leaders annually. Commanding officer: USS Monterey, CG-61, later commanded the USS Monterey, a guided missile cruiser. Oversaw the ship's maiden ballistic missile defense (BMD) deployment. This marked his emergence as a key leader in integrated air and missile defense operations for the Navy. Commodore, Destroyer Squadron 60, served as Commodore of Desron 60, responsible for the tactical control of multiple destroyers and maritime security operations, particularly in the Europe and Africa areas of responsibility. Commander, Carrier, Strike Group 1, led Carrier Strike Group 1, a major U.S. Navy operational unit centered around an aircraft carrier. Oversaw strike warfare, air defense, anti-submarine operations, and multinational exercises. Here's a detailed look at Admiral James W. Kilby's shore and staff assignments, which played a major role in his rise to senior leadership. Shore and staff roles. After distinguished sea commands, Admiral Kilby transitioned into increasingly strategic and technical shore assignments. These roles focused on systems integration, fleet readiness, and weapons development, critical areas for modern naval warfare. Naval Sea Systems Command, NAVSEA position, warfare. Analyst and requirements officers supported the development and fielding of advanced shipboard combat systems and weaponry. This role leveraged his technical experience at sea. Surface warfare. Directorate N96 role, requirements officer and section head, tasked with shaping long-term investment strategies for surface ships, weapons, and technology. He played a part in determining what future ships and capabilities the Navy would build. Office of the Chief of Naval Operations, OPNAV, held several high-level staff roles, including Director of Warfare Integration N9I, integrated war systems across the Navy's platforms, ships, submarines, aircraft, Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Warfighting, Requirements and Capabilities, N91, of the Navy's most influential positions, overseeing capability development, fleet modernization, and future force design. Provided guidance on multi-billion-dollar procurement programs. Navy staff innovation roles. Participated in planning for future naval force design, combat systems evolution, and artificial intelligence integration. Joint and allied work. Though primarily focused on U.S. Navy roles, Kilby was also involved in multinational exercises and joint interoperability efforts during his shore-based planning roles. Professional development. While no specific mention is made of postgraduate degrees, officers in his positions typically complete advanced education at institutions such as the Naval War College, National Defense, University Defense Acquisition, University. Note: no publicly confirmed record of Kilby's attendance at these, but likely given the nature of his assignments. These shore and staff roles made Admiral Kilby a trusted architect of the Navy's operational future, preparing him for his eventual role as a 4-star admiral and Vice Chief of Naval Operations. Here is a detailed overview of Admiral James W. Kilby's senior leadership and key roles within the U.S. Navy, including his most strategic assignments and flag officer positions. Senior leadership and key roles: flag officer promotions as Kilby rose to flag rank rear admiral and above. He took on increasingly critical responsibilities, shaping U.S. naval operations, modernization, and global force posture. Commander. Carrier Strike Group. I oversaw a full strike group, centered around an aircraft carrier, for example, USS Carl Vinson, with destroyers, cruisers, and air wings. Managed integrated air and missile defense, maritime strike, and strategic deterrence. Conducted multinational exercises and deployed to the Indo-Pacific region, vital for countering peer competitors. Director of Warfare Integration, OPNAVN-9I, led development and integration of new weapons, sensors, and platforms across the Navy. Ensured coherence between Navy force structure, warfighting concepts, and operational requirements. Instrumental in aligning the Navy's vision with budget and acquisition programs. Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for warfighting requirements and capabilities. OPNAVN-9, one of the most influential posts in the U.S. Navy, responsible for shaping future fleet architecture, weapons systems priorities, cyberspace, and AI integration, oversaw billions of dollars in Navy procurement programs. Served as the Navy's futurist, ensuring readiness for high-end conflicts, especially in the Indo. Vice Chief of Naval Operations 5 CNO-2023, confirmed by the Senate and assumed duty as the Vice Chief of Naval Operations VCNO in 2023. This is the Navy's #2 leadership position. Reporting directly to the Chief of Naval Operations CNO. Duties included overseeing daily operations and readiness across the entire Naval, leading innovation and modernization efforts, acting as the Navy's principal representative in inter-service and national defense policy discussions. Acting Chief of Naval Operations 2024-2025, briefly served as acting CNO, the top uniformed naval officer in the U.S. Navy. Took over during a leadership transition until a permanent CNO was confirmed. Represented the Navy in joint force planning, global strategy, and public affairs. Strategic vision. Admiral Kilby was known for emphasizing warfighting readiness and lethality, advocating for unmanned systems and AI balancing. Immediate operational needs with long-term fleet modernization. Yes. Admiral James W. Kilby officially became the Vice Chief of Naval Operations VCNO on January 5, 2024. Vice Chief of Naval Operations VCNO. Assumed office, January 5, 2024. Position, second highest ranking officer in the United States. Navy reports. 2. Chief of Naval Operations, CNO. Role and responsibilities. As VCNO, Admiral Kilby became the principal deputy to the Chief of Naval Operations, CNO. Leader responsible for daily operations of the Navy's administrative and operational apparatus. Coordinator of Navy-wide programs, including budgeting and force development. Personnel and training, strategic planning and modernization, senior voice in joint military councils and inter-service defense discussions. Key focus areas under Kilby's VCNO tenure: fleet readiness, improved ship and aircraft maintenance, ensuring combat readiness, force modernization, accelerated integration of unmanned systems, hypersonic weapons, and AI Indo-Pacific strategy, supported force posture adjustments to counter China's maritime assertiveness. Personnel and culture, advocated for improved sailor welfare, leadership training, and talent retention. Budget oversight, helped shape and defend the Navy's multi-billion-dollar budget before Congress. Acting Chief of Naval Operations 2024 to 2025. Due to leadership transitions, Admiral Kilby briefly served as acting CNO, assuming the full duties of the Navy's top uniformed officer until a permanent appointment was confirmed. Here is a summary of the honors and awards received by Admiral James W. Kilby throughout his distinguished naval career. Honors and awards: Vice Admiral James B. Stockdale Award for Inspirational Leadership. 2005, one of the Navy's highest leadership honors awarded while commanding USS Russell DDG-59, recognizes commanding officers who demonstrate inspirational leadership. Personal example, moral courage. Highly prestigious and awarded to only a few officers each year. Defense Superior Service Medal awarded for superior meritorious service in a position of significant responsibility, reflects exceptional performance in joint service roles, such as VCNO or Pentagon assignments. Legion of Merit, multiple awards, given for exceptionally meritorious conduct and outstanding service, often awarded to senior officers who command fleets or manage major operations.